Hey there, this is the One Boom, and this video might be a little unpopular, but this is just me examining my own experience. Go ahead and share yours down below. I don't think yours will be worse than mine or that mine is worse than yours. This is just what I've personally experienced coming back into Battlefield 4. If you guys haven't noticed, the recently featured Battlefield 4 gameplay on my channel is below subpar. It is very bad. I am all over the place, I am not confident, and I don't have anything unlocked. This is a new account. On console, I have, I would say, 95% of everything in the game unlocked. But on PC, I really don't. Since I've switched to PC and I'm better with keyboard and mouse, and I don't want to play the game without an FOV slider or with a really crappy resolution, it's been kind of rough. It's been kind of frustrating because I don't have all of the toys and gizmos that help you play the game unlocked, and a lot of the equipment in Battlefield 4 that I love, the toy box that I've been describing for years that Battlefield 4 has, just isn't available to me at the moment. Well then, on top of all of that, I don't have playtime. I do not have any experience with Battlefield 4 recently. A couple odd play sessions here and there, but I'm still incredibly rusty. I've forgotten how certain weapons work. I don't know how to snipe anymore. I forget where the power positions are. I forget how to navigate rooms with my eyes closed like I used to be able to do. Like seriously, Battlefield 4 is one of my most played games on console, but I took such a long break from it, such a long break from enjoying Battlefield for so long, that it's really hard for me to come back to, and then something clicked in me. In my head, Battlefield 3 and 4 were the penultimate Battlefield games. Nothing else needed to exist if it wasn't going to follow that formula. But as we saw, Hardline simplified the formula a little bit, and then Battlefield 1 simplified it a bit, and then Battlefield 5 similarly simplified its formula compared to Battlefield 3 and 4. So why do that? Why hurt the formula? Why go from modern military to cops and robbers to World War I to World War II? That doesn't work. You're just limiting the potential for fun. And I stood by this for a long time, and in some ways I still do, but I now realize why they simplified the formula, and why it also was a good time to release a World War I and World War II game if they were going to be simplifying down the game formula. If you give a new player Battlefield 4, there is so much to unlock. There are so many weapons and so many attachments. There are so many different things they have to progress towards. So many class gadgets, so much map knowledge is required, so much gun knowledge is required. And you might tell a new player, hey, just use a class that you like and just level it up over and over again. You know, pick a gun that you like and just sort of get comfortable with it. Don't take on everything at once. But man, that's hard. It's actually really hard because you're fighting people using things, weapons and things that you just do not have access to. You're getting killed by weapons that you don't even know how to unlock yet. And this is me coming back to Battlefield after being a huge fan and putting in hundreds of hours. I honestly feel out of my depth when I play Battlefield 4. Now, I've played these maps before, I've used these guns before, but it feels wrong. It feels messy. It feels overwhelming. I would pick on Battlefield 5 and 1 for having more simplistic maps with less verticality, but that verticality, when you're playing solo, when you're not playing with teammates and you're not able to coordinate and move, that elevation is just hundreds of enemies looking down on the top of your head. Seemingly, obviously, I'm sort of being hyperbolic to make the point. You know, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who would look at Battlefield and be overwhelmed. And I had so much trouble looking at that. I had so much trouble seeing Battlefield as a franchise that could overwhelm players. But now here I am. Despite my hours played, my rust in Battlefield is so thick that I genuinely feel overwhelmed and underprepared. Now, video games are special, you know? Something could be really difficult, but if somebody wants a difficult game, they'll do it. Something could be really easy and kind of boring, but if they want easy and boring, that's where they're gonna go. Recently, I have been grinding Grand Theft Auto 5, and now I'm starting to play Red Dead 2. And the online modes of this, of course. Because it just works for me. The sort of open-worldy, role-playing, grind for money and then buy new shit is really appealing to me right now. Hell, I'm going from playing games at 140 frames on my PC, competitive shooters that I really love, like Halo and Call of Duty, to playing 30 FPS open world games with my friends on Xbox. So yeah, maybe I'll make a video as to why that's grabbed me recently, because maybe that'll be interesting to some of you, because things are a little slow right now. Really, what I'm saying is the right game at the right time can be perfect for somebody. They look at the massive amount of things they have to unlock, the massive maps, the massive amount of maps, the complication in those maps, and they revel in it. It's all they want. And so my complaint seems silly. Again, this video is very, very subjective because of this fact. But we're all in the mood for different video games at different times. Like, a lot of people are surprised when they find out that I like Persona 5, or that I once bought Harvest Moon for my DS and played the ever-living shit out of it for a long time. But if Battlefield isn't speaking to you, and you only like the romanticization of the game, you only like the idea of the game, the aesthetic of the game, and you just kind of want to go in and have badass moments, the game slaps you down. The skill gap is there. The unlock gap is huge. The map knowledge required is pretty immense compared to a lot of other AAA shooters. So Battlefield 1 and 5's more simplistic map design and simplistic objective placement, a lot more of Battlefield 1 and 5 feel like, push the objective at all costs, throw your body in front of MGs, go for it. That's really what it felt like to me, and I didn't like that. I liked how Battlefield 4, or 3 even, was more like a sandbox. You kind of could just flank and move and play however you want. If you want to camp on a building all game, you can. You want to drive a tank or fly a jet, you can. It felt like a sandbox, whereas 1 and 5, a lot of times just felt more limiting. But maybe that limitation is good. Maybe that limitation came from Battlefield 4 seeming so overwhelming to new players. Well, also the number of bugs at launch was pretty overwhelming to anybody, but think about it. It would make sense that EA would be like, you know what, guys, a lot of new players don't like Battlefield 4. They get into it, they try to get into it, and it's just so overwhelming. There's so much to learn. There's so many things to unlock. We need to dial that back. So when you're gonna dial that back, that's a good time to go back in time, because there's less stuff to have in general. This is not to say that Battlefield 1 doesn't have complexities, or that Battlefield 5 doesn't have lots of things to unlock. I'm saying that it's not Battlefield 4. And maybe there is some merit in not being Battlefield 4 after all. That's the end of this video. That's the meat of this video. Maybe not being Battlefield 4 is okay. So when it comes to Battlefield 2042, as much as I would love for it to recapture what I love about Battlefield 3 and 4, if there's less unlocks and less overwhelming nonsense that really actually genuinely makes me feel like a scrub, you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a little bit of simplification, because now I understand the necessity for it in small doses. I want Battlefield 2042 to be way more like 4 than 1, but not at the expense of a streamlined experience that is just as fun by yourself as it is with friends. Well, that's kind of impossible. Friends make everything better, and a lot of the times somebody likes a game that you don't, just ask, do you have friends that you play it with? If they say yes, that might be a big reason. Lord knows I wouldn't put so much time into Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead Redemption if it wasn't for my friends playing alongside with me. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below.